position, Burgoyne began a retreat northward. Torrential rains didn't mask the smell of death of the many horses and oxen that had died of starvation. The rain and mud slowed Burgoyne's retreat, and he had less than 24 hours of rations when he surrendered. His surrender to General Gates was October 17th. Burgoyne had not changed his clothes for more than 2 weeks, even after bullets had torn his hat and waistcoat, but today he wore his finest scarlet uniform. Gates' troops, including our North Hampton ancestors, earned their place in history and witnessed this incredible event. The Americans, playing Yankee Doodle, formed 2 lines, and the British soldiers stacked their arms and marched between them. Almost 7,000 prisoners paraded past, including a dozen members of Parliament, English lords, Scottish knights, and many of their ladies, 7 generals, 300 officers, 3,400 British, and 2,400 Germans, including their pets that they'd adopted along the way, such as young foxes, raccoons, a deer, even a bear, and 300 women camp followers who entertained the troops between battles. Burgoyne surrendered his ivory-handled sword, saying, "The fortunes of war, General, have made me your prisoner." Burgoyne toasted Washington, and Gates toasted King George. The battle at Bemis Heights, Saratoga, has been recognized as the turning point of the American Revolution and one of the world's 15 most important victories. A loss at Saratoga would have been difficult to continue the fight for independence. The Americans proved they were not simply rebels, but could defeat the most powerful army in the world. Benjamin Franklin had been in France trying to win support for the rebellion. After the Bemis Heights victory, assistance came from France, Spain, and Holland. The Continental Congress didn't ratify the surrender terms, which would have allowed the prisoners to return to England with a promise never to engage against the Americans again. Instead, there was eventually an exchange of officers, but the prisoners were retained until the end of the war. The Duke of Brunswick didn't want his soldiers back. He was paid richly for his mercenaries, and return of defeated troops would hinder future recruitment. Almost 3,000 Germans settled in the colonies, becoming American citizens. Horatio Gates had done little, really, to bring about the victory of Saratoga. Credit was really due to the field officers such as Arnold, Dearborn, Morgan, and many others. There was even a movement to replace Washington with Gates. In 1780, Gates led troops to a disastrous defeat, and as his army collapsed, Gates fled the field, galloping 60 miles away, never to command troops in the field again. In 1819, at age 81, General Stark was not well enough to travel to a reunion. But he sent a letter to his comrades which closed, "Live free or die. Death is not the worst of evils." Now I'd like to introduce to you, thank you very much,